You're listening to Southern Miss Radio. It's time for News You Need. News You Need is a look at current events and how they affect the college community and beyond. And now here's the host of News You Need, Dr. Ed Simpson.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting edition of News You Need. This is the show where we talk to the best people in the whole world, which is our USM students. And we have yet another group of amazing folks here with us today. So first, why are we here? What is this all about? Well, this is the show where we talk about what is in the news, what are our students talking about. And the reason we do that is because news is the weather report for your society. It's the idea of understanding the issues that are coming toward us as a community, as citizens, and what kind of decisions do we need to be making, right? So the same way that your weather forecaster tells you, hey, you might need to bring an umbrella today, your news tells you, hey, you might want to get involved with this issue today, right? So that's the idea. That's why we're here. It goes quick, and it's usually a lot of fun. So let's kick it off with, if you would, introduce yourself, give us your name, maybe your hometown, what year you're in. If you want to talk about your major, we can do that. But then what group are you with, and do you hold a position in that group? So let's start here.
Okay, my name is Carlton Love. I am a sophomore from Sumner, Mississippi, and I serve as the Vice President of Eagles After Similar Yearnings.
Let's say that again.
I am the Vice President of Eagles After Similar Yearnings.
Okay, Eagles After Similar Yearnings. Love it.
Hey everyone, my name is Amari Bland. I'm from Gloucester, Mississippi. I'm a freshman here at USM, and my major is nursing, and I'm a mentee of EASY.
What is easy? Talk to me.
Eagles After Similar Yearnings.
Okay, gotcha.
After
Eagles.
Similar
Okay, say it. So
Yeah.
Eagles
After similar.
Yearnings.
Yearnings.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, I love that. So tell me, what is the group all about? What do y'all do?
Eagles After Similar Yearnings is a new organization that is catered around mentoring minority freshmen and helping them develop on campus academically, professionally, and personally.
Oh, actually, that's a really excellent mission.
Yes, and it's real good for getting started and having someone to guide you throughout this 4-year college experience.
Yeah, I think that's great. So the idea is to pair upper class people with fresh type people.
Yes,
Yes.
we pair up mentors who are upperclassmen with a freshman that is in their major or in a field that is close to their major as possible. That may not have happened across the board all the way, but that was the initial goal.
Okay. Okay. That's great. And is it primarily aimed at African American students to make sure that that experience goes okay?
African American students and other minority students.
And other minority students. So talk to me about that. So obviously someone saw that there was a need for that here on campus. So what do you think? How is USM doing in terms of welcoming our African American and minority students?
I think being that USM is a PWI, some African Americans may not, they still be stuck in their shell, and I feel like EASY brings them out of their shell. And being me as a mentee, I have a mentor who's a nursing major, so I can ask her for help or advice on anything that I need help with.
Yes, I think that USM does a good job in welcoming African American students and other minorities to campus, but I think EASY pushes the envelope further by having them acclimate better to campus in their first year instead of going through the motions on their own.
Yeah, I think what a great important mission that is. So PWI, primarily white institution, right? Yes.
Yes.
So that's as opposed to HBCU, historically black college
Yeah.
or university. Yeah, so there you go. Well, great. Welcome. Really appreciate it. Love the idea for the group, and I'm so glad you guys are there. How many members you got so far? How's it going?
I'm going to say roughly 60 members.
Wow, that's great. That's a really strong group. Yeah, I love that. And do you have any events coming up or anything?
Last week we just hosted a resume and interview skill workshop. We have no more events coming up this month. I don't think. No, we don't. In March, I think we're hosting let me check my schedule to make sure I'm not
That's
giving the
okay.
wrong events.
Yeah, that's okay.
In March, we will be hosting. Can I get to March? Nothing in March yet.
Nothing in March yet. Okay, well, that's okay. A lot of our groups do that month by month, right? Okay, excellent. Well, talk to me about what are our university students talking to each other about? What's hot? What's the news that our students are chatting about?
I think at this moment in time, it's the academics and also getting involved. A lot of freshmen are in their second semester, so they're looking into branching out into other organizations because the freshmen we have the easy targets freshmen. So once they graduate from the freshman stage, they're going to be thinking about what to do next, and I think we're getting them prepared for involvement in other organizations such as SMAC, Men of Excellence, SMABJ, things of that nature.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So academics are always a topic for our students.
Yeah.
So you're a freshman. How
Yes.
did the first semester go?
The first semester went well. I made it on the president's list with a
Ooh.
4.0 GPA.
That's great.
And yeah, and hopefully to strive for that this semester as well.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so other than academics, what are our students talking about? What's news? What's going on?
I would say, like he said, people getting involved. I know they've been having a lot of intramural sports games and stuff, so people been going out
You
to
know,
those.
I've heard more about intramurals this semester than I think I've ever had.
I think that's the most I've heard this semester too.
Are you on a team?
Oh no, my roommate is, so yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I am not on the intramural team, but one of my other organizations, Men of Excellence, is hosting a basketball tournament on March 4th in the Payne Center from 6 to 10.
Okay.
So if
Excellent.
anyone wants to come out and support, you're
Yeah.
more than welcome to.
Well, I actually am super happy to hear about intramurals. I actually, now you would never believe this, but I played intramurals when I was your age, and I was the free throw shooting intramural champion of
Okay.
19, now hang on to your seat, of 1983.
Oh, that's not that far back.
1983.
I wasn't
Yep, there you go.
even
So now, what are our students thinking about our sports teams? Anything?
A lot of students talk about going to the basketball
Yeah,
games.
the basketball game. That's
So
what
basketball's
really trending.
usually big, and have you guys actually gone to a game yet?
I have.
I
I
went
mean,
to
I was
one.
going to be a part of it, but I be so busy, so I don't have time to.
Okay.
I went to one. I need to start going to more.
I mean, it's nice to see like people coming out instead of just being in their dorms all the time. So
So now, one of the headlines in the last week or two, excuse me, was the basketball coach suffering a heart episode. Did you guys catch that?
I did not actually.
Yes. So I believe now this is. I have to see. I'm going to say things. I'm not caught up on the latest, but I believe he's doing well. He's there's no danger, but that caused some folks to sit up for a little while. Anything else in the news? Is there any Taylor Swift reverberations that our students are talking about?
no, I mean, I think they all over the Super Bowl right now. I know it is Kappa Week. The Noops they're having a week. You know,
Okay.
each fraternity I think they do their own week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they have a game tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they
at
do
2.
have a basketball tournament.
Yeah, they have a
tomorrow.
basketball tournament tomorrow at 2.
Okay. Okay. So did you guys watch Super Bowl?
Yes.
I watched it.
Some
Did
of
you?
it.
For
Okay.
Usher.
Some of it. Okay. Well, it was
For
actually
Usher.
it's a super good game, right? If you like sports. Did you watch the commercials?
Did I?
Did you any commercials catch your eye?
Only the Beyonce commercial caught my eyes.
Yeah, the Beyonce commercial.
Yeah. Okay. That's what a lot of folks are talking about. Is
Yeah,
the
and
Beyonce
she dropped
commercial?
some songs.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick up with some headlines that have been in the news in the last week on the other side of the break.
Sponsorship comes from Hub City Spokes. Hub City Spokes publishes the Pine Belt News, Pine Belt Sports, Signature Magazine, and Here's Hattiesburg. HubCitySpokes.com is the destination for news and sports in the Pine Belt, as well as a look at the lifestyle of the people in the Pine Belt and beyond. Hub City Spokes, a proud Southern Miss Radio supporter.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ed Simpson, Director of the School of Media and Communication at USM. Join me on Southern Miss Radio Friday afternoons at 12:30 for a new show, News You Need. On News You Need, USM students will discuss current events and why those events are important to them. Listen in on how the future citizens of the U.S. consider news and how those news events affect their lives. Join me for News You Need, Fridays at 12:30 on Southern Miss Radio. Okay, we are back and here with our amazing student guests. So let me throw a couple of headlines at you. And generally what we try to do is say, do you guys care? As USM students, has any of this kind of cracked your information silos and and do you think you or your fellow students might care about some of these things? So there's the big headline this morning, huge news, everybody's talking about it. Alexei Navalny, who is the primary critic of Russian Premier Vladimir Putin, died this morning. So they announced his death. He was in prison, sentenced to, get this, hang on to this, so 19 years for being an extremist. So now this is the same gentleman that was poisoned while he was visiting England 2 years ago. And then this morning, the Russian Federal Prison Service announced that Navalny was dead. Now, of course, President Biden held a news conference about an hour ago where he said, well, yeah, sure, Putin did this. So now that's a big deal on the international stage. What do you think?
I think that politics is a very intricate and scary thing to talk about.
Yeah,
Okay,
very.
gotcha.
I don't really get into politics like that, but I know a lot. I see where it's always something going on, and of course they're gonna blame Putin because it's always been that controversy or that argument between them two.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I agree. Are some things in politics staged and orchestrated? Yes, but without the full facts of what actually happened, we're never gonna know what happened.
we're never gonna know.
But
Interesting.
I
Okay.
did see that headline like literally before I walked in here.
Yeah. This one really is hot off the presses. I woke up this morning. New York Times had it huge on their homepage. So let me try to make a connection or two here. Why we might want to care a little bit is that Russia, our relationship with Russia, number one, is historic. It goes back post World War II all the way to present day. And of course, what's going on between Russia and another country that we hear about almost every day? The war in the Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Ukraine.
well, there's lots of things that go on every day with Russia and everybody, right? So what I was thinking, so the idea is the war in the Ukraine. Your Congress has been attempting to put together an aid package for the Ukraine, which has not passed. And so President Biden this morning actually said, well, hey, we hope this will help Congress pass more money to help the Ukraine in their fight, in their war against Russia.
See, here's my thing with that.
Okay.
Our government spends so much money assisting other
Assisting
countries
other countries.
instead of fixing the issues within our own country. We have children in the streets starving right now, but they're more focused on aiding wars.
Right. And providing guns and weapons.
Oh,
and
you
all
guys
that.
are interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge issue with our country, and that's a problem with the administration altogether. That they spend their money on wars instead of fixing systemic issues within our country, which needs to be addressed, hopefully, with this upcoming election.
Right.
Interesting. Okay. We will probably get to the election here. That is fascinating. So your perspective is really interesting. So let me ask you this. What about the war between Israel and Hamas and over the Gaza Strip? Are USM students following that?
I see it on my Twitter, Instagram feed every day. I think it's very sad and sickening to see a genocide happening in real time. And I also am just disgusted at the fact that media is painting Gaza and Palestinians as the perpetrators of their own genocide, when that's not inherently possible.
Interesting. Now that we have heard before. And that is definitely a generational issue. It's really interesting. So folks in my generation, and I'm 1.9 billion years old, this is kind of the other side of that, is that Israel is responding to the attack on October 7th by Hamas on Israel land that killed something like, I forget the total, but something around over 300 citizens. So you met so that October 7th attack. So Israel is responding to that. Is that? But you're not buying it.
It makes sense. In a sense, it does make sense, but it's also, if they are retaliating, they're basically doing overkill, because 300 compared to 10,000 a day is a scary ratio.
Okay, so the idea is response in proportion. And the feeling among our younger folks is that Israel's gone too far.
I feel it. I feel as if they have.
Okay.
I don't really be focusing on that because I know my mind, and I know I get mad easily about stuff like that. So, but I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah,
have no
I hear you.
clue.
No, I hear it. So let me turn this a little bit to this idea of reading the news, thinking about what's going on in the news. I hear that a lot. That is the most common answer when you say, "Hey, do you read the news, or do you watch the news? Do you consume the news?" And a lot of times the answer is, "Well, no." And the reason is, it makes me upset. Right.
Because I know my senior year in high school, our teacher made us do like it was called current event, where we had to actually like watch the news and pick a interesting topic to talk about and issue it out and teach the class about it and like how we felt about it. So that's how I really started. Cause I always just like watching the news and the weather and stuff like that. But I feel like after when she taught us how to do that, it made me watch the news more and to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah, that's great. I love that exercise. I'm glad you did that. So the argument is, yes, it does. We talk about many sad things in the news, and one idea of why you want to do that is if you go to the doctor and he finds something that you might want to take care of, otherwise it'll cause more problems down the road. Do you want to know about it, or would you rather not have the doctor give you bad news?
I'd rather
I'd
know
rather
about
know
it.
about it as well.
So that's one of the arguments is you pay attention. Yeah, it's hard sometimes to confront these bad things going on around the world, but the only way to address it is to understand it, pay attention to it, and then make a difference, right? And in the United States, how do we make a difference? I have a thought, but I just want to see what you guys think.
Internationally, our country does have a lot of influence.
Right.
We do.
Yeah. And I think that's how where immigration and migration come in. People come here for a better lives and a better opportunity. And I feel like the U.S. offers that as well, but we still have flaws too. Like we're not perfect, but you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the best ways to make a difference in the U.S. is to vote.
Yes.
Yes, vote.
Right.
Because I feel like people who don't vote, then they get upset because whoever's in office. But you can't get upset if you didn't play your part. So
Yes, you have a point.
There
Because
you
I
go.
often heard a lot growing up, I'm not going to vote because my vote doesn't count.
yeah,
It doesn't count because a lot of you chose not to vote, and that, like, it doesn't count if you didn't vote because every vote is counted.
Right.
And a lot of people are not.
They're not educated.
Yes.
They're not educated on the fact where they feel like, oh, if I don't vote, it don't matter anyways because this person gonna do this person gonna do that. But you don't really know. Like you have to get the facts on that individual. Like he said, your vote does count.
Yeah. Yeah. If like your vote doesn't count because you didn't put it in. Because do you know how many elections that could have went a different way if more people that didn't vote voted? Yeah. If people voted more issues could get fixed and handled.
Well, especially your demographic.
Yes.
There was a President Obama because young people decided to go vote. Now, the last two elections post Obama, young people not totally stayed home, but did stay home in the first Trump election because they were upset about Bernie Sanders did not get the Democratic nomination, and then nobody. So let me ask you this. How excited are you about the presidential candidates for this fall?
It's like picking between the lesser of two evils at this point.
So not very.
Yeah, I haven't even really looked, but I know that I think is Trump running again.
I
Yes.
think he is. It's
Trump-
very,
Trump
it's
is
very
definitely
scary.
running
Yeah,
again.
it's very scary to look at. I haven't even looked. Haven't even touched bases yet.
I'm going to consider both sides, with all sides of the election, because you have the Democratic, Republican, and Independent. I feel like people should not focus on what party the candidate is in, but most of the
Right.
programs they want to implement. Because I think that's where a lot of voters go wrong. They vote for
They
the
be like, oh,
party.
I'm gonna vote for a Democrat. Like,
They're not voting for the party. They're voting for they're not voting for the programs. They're voting for the party, which could cause a lot of issues as well. Because you're voting for a party that does not have your best interest at heart versus a candidate who does. But because that candidate is not in your respective party, you don't vote for them.
Yeah, so that kind of gets me back again to make my argument that nobody ever listens to about the news, right? So the idea is to, if you know what's going on, you know the issues, and then you can ask candidates, well, how do you feel about those issues and what's going on? Do we need a break here? No, we're gonna keep going here. So yeah, absolutely. So that's interesting. So the two candidates would be Trump right now and Joe Biden. And that neither one are getting our young people excited, is what I'm hearing.
no,
neither one.
because I feel like Joe Biden, he didn't deliver his message like as he said he was from post-election. So now that's what probably has the controversy between, oh, who I'm gonna vote for this year is like he said is.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw a headline at you that kind of goes right back to this idea of voting, but voting for everybody from president on down to local council member. So here's a headline out of, actually I'm going to read you the first sentence out of Mississippi Today. So Mississippi Today is a nonprofit news operation. It's one of the best in the country. It's here in Mississippi, and they are now the largest newsroom operating in Mississippi. So it's very cool. So here's the first sentence. State lawmakers recently filed legislation to replace Mississippi's 2 statues of white supremacists in the U.S. Capitol in Washington. Now, interesting. So here's the way it works. Every state at the Capitol building in Washington D.C. gets places for 2 statues of state citizens that they honor or whatever. Mm-hmm. One of the statues for Mississippi is of Jefferson Davis, who I'm looking at their face here, is obviously the Confederate president. So now the legislation filed it was filed in Mississippi because that's where it comes from. Would remove those statues. And it was filed by a Democrat. So what do you think?
I think it's progress for Mississippi because I think like not too long ago we just got rid of the Confederate flag as a state flag,
Right.
which is mind-boggling to me because it seems that our state is the last to progress in anything.
You do tend to hear that, don't you?
A lot. I think it's a step forward. Now, who would they replace them with? That's a different conversation.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, if you had any ideas on who might you replace that with.
I'm trying to think. It's not coming to me right now.
I don't. You know what? I don't have any off the top of my head either. But I'm
No.
sure that we have Mississippi historians that could really help us come up with other. So did you see? When I read this story, I did not know that Jefferson Davis had a statue up in the Capitol building. I thought that had been removed many years ago, but apparently it had not. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
it doesn't.
Okay. Because just because.
Just because.
It's Mississippi. It really doesn't surprise me.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let me throw that. Well, we are going to take a break here now. Thank you, and we'll get to pick up with another 1 or 2 headlines after the break.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Join Southern Miss Radio on Sunday mornings from 6 a.m. till noon for Sunday Brunch. You'll get jazz and swing music from artists as wide-ranging as Bix Beiderbecke to Brad Meldau. From Dippermouth himself to Esperanza Spalding. But relax, you don't need to know anything about the music to enjoy it. It's a great way to wake up on Sunday morning. Sunday Brunch from 6 a.m. until noon on Southern Miss Radio.
We are back. So let me bring up basically a whole nother subject here really quickly. Just a couple of headlines. This is again out of Mississippi Today. And again, this may not surprise anybody here on the panel, but Mississippi has the fewest electric vehicle charging stations in the nation. So now the state is so the state is saying that over the next 2 to 3 years they want to install another 2,000 or 3,000 stations.
Yeah, I feel like they don't have that many stations for those electric cars to say that they are instead of producing more. The places are not issuing out more because I know where I'm from, I know in Macomb, Mississippi, they only have like maybe five of the stations. So.
Yeah, I know. Have you guys driven an electric vehicle?
No, I have a gas vehicle, a Nissan Frontier 2019. I do not relate to the electric car life.
Yeah, I feel
for
like
now.
I wouldn't recommend driving an electric car.
Well, actually, my son has electric vehicles. They're kind of cool. They're basically like a really big golf cart and you press the gas and it goes. You don't hear anything, and it's kind of cool. But yeah, so it is a different way of doing things. But so there's Mississippi today. So another technology thing. So here's a headline out of the New York Times. Neuralink implanted a device in a patient's brain, Elon Musk says. The billionaire said his company's first product, called telepathy, would let a person control a phone or a computer just by thinking.
That's a setup in itself.
Yeah, I think that's a setup. Whoever even let that doctor do that,
It's
that's
set up. So that
Yeah, I would not recommend getting an implant put into my brain because if it's electric, it's easily hackable.
right.
So you may think you're controlling your phone, but someone's controlling you to control
Right.
their
Oh,
phone.
you know, well, that had never occurred to me. Well, that's really interesting. So you're not buying the whole Neuralink thing,
No,
I personally wouldn't buy it.
I wouldn't either.
huh? Well, did you know that they were trying that Elon Musk, who's Tesla, kind of the richest man in the world, SpaceX, all that guy, the X guy who bought Twitter. Did you know he was working on this kind of technology?
I heard about it like last week, but honestly, Elon is just bored at this point. I
Yeah,
think.
he's just bored at this point.
He's done it all. He's got all the money in the world. He's just like making stuff up at this point.
At this point, he's just making stuff up.
So you don't want a Neuralink, and you don't care if do you care if anybody else has a Neuralink? Like if I had a Neuralink, would you care?
It's
I
your
mean,
decision.
if it's beneficial for you, then hey,
Go
go
for it.
ahead, go for it.
Yeah, I say it's your decision, but me, no.
Okay.
Hard pass.
Okay. So now in breaking Taylor Swift news, here you go. Headline. This is the headline that came out today. Taylor Swift has donated $100,000 to one of the shooting victims at the Kansas City Chiefs parade. Did you guys hear about this? So there was a shooting, injured
about
a
the
couple of
shooting.
dozen folks, killed one person.
I feel like I'm just tired of hearing about Taylor Swift. I mean, that was very beneficial. Like that was good that she did that, but I don't know. Maybe she's trying to put herself out there more.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Taylor Swift is a bad person. I just think her and Travis Kelce's whole relationship is
Yeah,
public-
it's
PR
being
stunt.
too public.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a PR
Well,
stunt.
I was kind of more referring to the shooting, on whether you cared about that.
Oh yeah, I feel like that was a good deed that she did in
Yeah.
her book.
Yeah, my heart goes out to the victims.
Yeah, very.
Well, the idea that there was a shooting is
that
like,
what was crazy.
That's the problem as well. Like the amount of shootings, mass shootings that happen in this country on a daily basis
It's
are
crazy, insane.
well,
even in
we could
schools.
talk for an hour on that, right?
I could.
Okay, so we are out of time, and so thank you very much to our guests. You guys were great. I appreciate that. And so the group is Easy,
Yes.
Yes.
and so look them up and jump in there if you can. This has been a production of Southern Miss Student Media. Our producer is Lillian Scott. She keeps us between the ditches. Thank you, Lillian. Our engineer is Triderica Winters. Thank you, Triderica. And our videographer is Elena Petleski. Don't forget that we will have our live event Thursday evening, 6 p.m. in Stout Hall here at USM's campus. And we will be back next week.
This has been News You Need with Dr. Ed Simpson. News You Need airs Friday afternoon at 12:30 on Southern Miss Radio.